Hello, thank you for joining today's session on the future of work. It's a topic that captures my curiosity and inspires me to keep my mind open and to be of service to others. My name is Michelle Pruitt, but I dropped my first name a while ago, so please call me Pruitt. Let's go ahead and dive in on the future of work. So, the future of work is currently being defined as the digitization of businesses and role related functions in what's called the fourth industrial revolution. The most common question I hear and come across in research from an employee perspective is, will a machine take my job? Other frequent questions revolve around the number of roles and availability of jobs, what those jobs look like, what are the skills that are required, what is the compensation, of course, and then finally, what about job security? Questions from employers are different and often start with an inward look at how they should design jobs today for tomorrow. They're more concerned with creating a competitive advantage as a result of their workforce and the actions needed to do so. Now, not all changes are going to come at once, and there's going to be several transitional phases for businesses that they'll need to navigate as they define and identify their new culture and identity. And then, of course, compensation is also a question as they think about what will I need to pay for the different roles I need to hire and for the employees that I will have on staff. The future of work is not fully baked, but there is strong data that allows us to envision what is possible. Generally, the future of work is thought of as humans versus machines, which isn't quite accurate. Looking at data across those employed by large firms in global non-agricultural workforce roles, we anticipate approximately 75 million jobs will be displaced with the shift in the division of labor between humans and machines and algorithms. The same data provides a projection of about 133 million new jobs generated that are more aligned and adapted to this new division of labor between humans, machines, and algorithms. If we drill deeper, the data suggests 5% of occupations can be fully automated, and that 60% of occupations can have about a third of their activities or daily functions automated. It's pretty obvious with these stats as to why digitization will transform the workplace and create substantial changes. Roles most susceptible to automation include physical ones in predictable environments, such as operating machinery, preparing fast food, and collecting and processing data, because machines can complete these tasks faster and with higher accuracy. This could displace large amounts of labor, for instance, in mortgage origination, paralegal work, accounting, back office transaction processing. It is important to note, however, that when some of these tasks are automated, employment in those occupations may not actually decline. Instead, the type of work and the daily functions or tasks for those workers will most likely evolve to be something different. Think of self-checkout at the grocery store. You no longer have a cashier at each register. You do have an employee or two ready to assist customers if there is an issue. These employees have the skills of what we consider a traditional cashier, and they have some technical knowledge of the machine and system to provide early troubleshooting and recovery for shoppers. Automation will have a lesser effect on jobs that involve managing people, applying expertise, and then those with social interactions. All of these are situations where machines are unable to match human performance, at least for now. Jobs in unpredictable environments, such as gardeners, plumbers, and providers of child or elder care, will also see less automation because these functions are technically difficult to automate and often command lower wages, which makes automation a less attractive business proposition. As we can see, the fourth industrial revolution will require a new balance of resiliency from both businesses and employees. To increase resiliency, we'll see a shift to a responsive organization where roles are designed and structured around outcomes to increase agility and flexibility. to formalize how processes can adapt and be malleable. This will also provide employees with varied, adaptive, and flexible roles where they can acquire cross-functional knowledge and training, which increases their marketability. We'll also see an expanded employer role as a social safety net for a growing number of employees and their roles. The pandemic has increased the trend of employers playing a critical and expanded role in their employees' financial, physical, and mental well-being. Support includes enhanced sick leave, financial assistance, adjusted hours of operation and an adjusted flex schedule, and then childcare provisions. Now, unfortunately, existing inequalities are set to deepen. All the change brought on by the COVID-19 lockdown measures, these are going to snowball inequality. We see this already. The people most adversely affected are depressingly familiar. Those living in neighborhoods with poor infrastructure, with poor employment prospects, and whose income does not equip them with a comfortable living standard, healthcare coverage, or savings. While we may consider the pandemic an anomaly, it has highlighted disparities in different classifications of employment, such as essential and frontline workers. We see that many of these roles provide fewer benefits and less pay. Functions most at risk of digitization include office support, customer interaction, mostly within food, services, and retail environments, predictable physical work that is routine-based, and then unpredictable physical work such as machine installation, maintenance and repair, and agriculture. Unsurprisingly, higher pay industries have a lower share of workers at risk of unemployment. The industries with the largest opportunity to work from home are the information technology insurance industries, with about 74% of workers reporting the ability to work remotely and that support from their employers. Fields like finance, legal work, and business services could, in theory, perform work remotely. Now, this career divide will grow with the digitization of roles. More alarmingly is the increasing difficulty in bridging from a non-technical job to a technical job, what we call upward mobility. This is at risk. There will be a shift that emphasizes and improves the employee experience. Data shows that an engaged and happy employee directly impacts and positively impacts the overall customer experience. Employers will focus less on roles which group unrelated skills and instead focus on skills needed to drive a competitive advantage and workflows that fuel that advantage. They'll encourage employees to develop critical skills that potentially open up multiple opportunities for their career development instead of preparing for a specific next role. Rather than a jobless economy, the two great challenges in the labor market may be one, massive dislocation on one hand, and then two, the distribution of productivity gains on the other hand. While technological change will not lead to the end of work, it will certainly displace people from occupations and sectors. In this context, broad access to initial and further education, mostly centered on technology, will become increasingly important for people's chances in life. The future, it's not bleak. In fact, the perspective of humans versus machines, it will evolve into a collaboration. If we think of it as arm wrestling right now in our perspective, it's going to transition into a handshake. So some more good news, right? Referred to earlier, there's going to be 60 million net new jobs that will be created. Computers and robots will only be used where they can provide productivity gains that drive increased revenues and income. We'll see companies employ a smaller but more highly skilled staff who are compensated with higher wages. The increase in productivity should also result in a slight reduction in prices for consumers. The expectation is a trickle up economy where increased wages and profits will boost consumption of goods and services. Now, no technology is currently more human than humans. No machine is able to create human relationships and the feeling of being cared for. Not unless you believe Hollywood movies, anyway. Employees will become problem solvers and not order takers, and this will require higher emotional intelligence and critical decision making skills. Think of exception management when a situation falls outside of the rule parameters for an automated process. This is when a human will step in to solve the problem, to solve that exception. To support this evolution, about 50% of workers in the world will require reskilling in order to secure their jobs for the next 5 years. So while employers may have smaller staffs, we're still going to see a growth in the overall number of companies or that overall number of employers. And we will see higher skilled employees who are paid that higher wage with the role evolution. Now, what do you do to increase job security, right? That's the main question here. How do you future proof your career? You do this by acquiring new skills. We're seeing digital transformation take over industries and functions such as invoicing payments, customer service, equipment monitoring, delivery, retail, and more. These are becoming automated. From inventory to checkout, the latest advances in robotics, artificial intelligence, and machine learning have been put to work throughout most of the retail ecosystem. It's in existence now. AI, you only need to look around and you will see AI is integral to our daily lives. Directional maps on our phones, automated customer service, shopping suggestions based on browsing and purchase histories, movie and entertainment recognition recommendations, and then even medical diagnostics. The new landscape will be inhabited by roles such as data analysts and data scientists, AI and machine learning specialists, robotic engineers, application developers, digital transformation specialists, information security analysts, and then Internet of Things specialists. In the future, several industries are going to be AI dependent, which means organizations are going to have to actively seek AI trained talent, making it a valuable skill for the future. For example, agriculture and farming, which is often thought of as low tech, is really becoming a tech leading industry with analytics to predict crop health and yield, plant nutrient needs, optimum water delivery, and even geospatial services such as platting and tractor guidance, which is also moving towards self-driving automation. All of this points to one thing: the need to embrace change. Embracing change will require our brains and emotions to be flexible. Cultivating this flexibility skill will enable us to see change not as a burden or a tax, and to build our own resilience and level of future proofing. Workplaces are more diverse, and yet more needs to be done to increase diversity. Inclusion and diversity is a trend which will continue, necessitating individuals to respect and work with others of varying race, culture, language, political, and religious beliefs. It will require organizations to rethink practices in education requirements. We will see more non-traditional education and more experience in lieu of education become the norm. There is still a competitive advantage in being human, and there will be continued emphasis on human interaction in this new economy. There will be an increased demand for care economy jobs, such as nursing and elder care, roles in marketing, sales, content production, as well as roles that are at the forefront of people and culture development. Even more encouraging, major emerging emphasis is being placed on distinctly human skill sets, such as personal development. There has been an 88% growth in personal development course enrollment. The top 10 focus areas of those currently employed outside of pursuing technical skills are self management focused skills such as mindfulness, time management, well being, gratitude, resiliency, communication. We will see businesses and governments offering more training and reskilling options. Now, at the same time, it's important for all of us, regardless of industry, regardless of function, to advocate for educational resources and incentives for businesses to invest in training and reskilling for these future jobs. Call your local representatives, motivate companies you work for and do business with to review existing training programs and to revise them, review and revise, create new ones, focus on skills for future work. If you run your own business, take the lead here. Now, as we naturally reflect on the question, how does a person future proof their career in such a dynamic world? We don't have to be overwhelmed. There are several ways to pick up new skills without having to commit to multi-year and expensive programs. Learning from an expert or mentor, shadowing a team whose skills you wish to pick up, reading voraciously, articles online, case studies on relevant topics, and yes, even YouTube. You could also consider doing a course or degree that will help you develop the skills you are after and that you want to develop. Now, in closing, I want to challenge you with 3 action items. The first is to pick a topic related to the future of work and schedule time to explore it in more detail. Then, two, I want you to share your knowledge with someone. And what I mean is, I want you to present what you have learned as though you are the expert. And then three, I want you to create 2 mentoring relationships. The first is where you are the mentee, and then the second, you're the mentor. Now, we can all do this together. We can come together, we can help one another future proof for the future of jobs. Women in Cloud has the hashtag Rise Together. So let's rise together. We can do it. All right. Well, I want to thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you to Women in Cloud for the opportunity. And I just want to say best wishes. Thank you so much.